Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Cleydson Barbosa and you are here at our live. Hello, hello. So, if you are not live here with us, welcome to something's different are going to happen here this time. All right, so if you know me, I normally do these lives both in Portuguese and English. All right, but today we have two things that are going to make it different. All right, first, this live is going to be 100% in English, okay? But we are going to try to do it very simple. Now, if you can understand me this way, this is how things are going to happen, okay? And if you don't understand anything, just leave your comments. We're going to try to explain that better, all right? The second different thing that we are going to do now is normally I interview people here. But today I am going to be interviewed by my old and great friend, the one with the sexy voice. I didn't have a good adjective to say, so this is the best adjective I would use. My friend, who is a polyglot, a channel with more than 100k subscribers, Paulo Nideck!
Hey Cleydson, how's it going?
How's it going, my friend? Very good to be here with you. And I am very happy.
You see that my Google Assistant just replied to you. So this is you're on. Let me check the Wi-Fi.
Yes, this is Skynet, my friend.
Yeah, and you see that's a good sign that your English is working, because I tell my students that a great challenge for them is for Siri Assistant or Google Assistant to understand your pronunciation. So right on.
You're totally right. So I already told my students and the people who are following, or maybe if you are in the future watching that, listening to that, because you may be listening to the podcast version. So what are flying cars like? Please answer down in the comments. And now I'm going to give the place to give the host of this show today the honor to introduce himself. Okay, Paulo Nideck, who are you and who is your guest?
All right, so my name is Paulo Nideck. I prefer this pronunciation in English because it's easier for Americans to understand. And I'm an English teacher. I live in Rio and I help people, from young people and adults, to learn English, to improve their English, and then to go on to achieve their personal and professional goals with English. So that's pretty much what I do, and I do it online. So that is a great thing during the pandemic.
Yeah, of course. And how can people find you?
Just type in Paulo, Nideck, Nideck on Google, or nideck.com, and you'll find me. It's not difficult to find me. Yeah, so yeah, just look it up. It's Google.
Okay, that's it. And I always see Paulo referring to himself as Nideck in English. I was saying Nideck in Portuguese for people who are from Brazil, but
it's all good. Yes.
This is going to be available for many other people. So Paulo Nideck, if you're not watching that on Instagram, So, or if you're just listening to the audio version, to the podcast version, the link to his channel is going to be on the description, all right? Okay, Paulo, so game on.
All right, so Cleydson, what's your full name? I don't think I ever knew your full name. What is it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, first.
My name is Cleydson. And yes, in Brazil, that's a strange name as well. My name is Cleydson Barbosa Ferreira, which in English would be something like Ferreira. Cleydson Barbosa Ferreira.
Good. All right. So, and you're from?
I'm from, I'm from a city called Paulista. Which is in Recife, which is in the state of Pernambuco. This is a very small town in the edge of Recife, which is the capital of the Pernambuco state in the northeast of Brazil. I normally tell people that in Brazil, for foreigners, I try to explain things because they try to understand what Recife is like, etc. So I normally say that São Paulo is our New York, Rio is our California,
Okay.
and Recife is our Florida.
That is a good way to put it. I never thought of Recife as Florida. That is a good comparison. So,
Yes,
in a little city in Recife, is that right?
yeah, it's an amount of islands together, which you cross by bridges. You may cross by some boats, etc. But it forms a city, and it has a lot of mud, a lot of rivers, and people come here because normally people come here because for tourism, and we have warm beaches, and that's how we are known for. People come here to have fun, and that's why I say that I would live in the Florida of Brazil.
All right, so Florida's got alligators, and apparently in Recife.
Sorry, Paulo. I am not hearing you. I saw we were having some glitches. So
Okay.
I'm going to call you again, okay?
I can hear you fine.
Sorry, I tried to speak with Paulo, but so if you can you try to
I can hear
get
you fine.
in again?
Want to go on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
I see that I cannot take you out. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get, so if you
All right.
get out the live, try to be back again.
Sure.
In the meantime, I'll try to. Okay, sorry guys, sometimes some things happen and we don't have a good quality of internet, so I'm going to call Paulo again. I spoke so much, and the time that he was going to try to speak something. Okay, now I can hear you.
We're back. All right.
Good.
So you sound like Recife is like Florida to Americans. And I was thinking, like, in Florida they got alligators.
Oh yeah.
Apparently in Recife you got sharks.
Yeah, of course we have alligators and sharks. Yeah, and the Paulista in Recife would be something like Naples. There's a city in Florida which is called Naples, so this is the one I would compare to, but the alligators and stuff is more to the center of the town.
Wow, look at that. All right. So by any chance, have you ever heard about a person, a swimmer, a friend that has been in contact, maybe eye contact with a shark?
Oh, I've heard a lot. The alligators are not so so common because people know, and there are some people, but they're not that popular. But in Recife, we always hear about a shark. It's not something that, if you're going to the beach, beware because you're going to find a shark. No, this is not like that. But sometimes we hear that a shark showed up and we hear about accidents, but normally it goes viral on news, and then it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it gets worldwide spread.
Right, so mostly on the news. In real life, you've never seen it or heard a friend or a friend of a friend or a swimmer, or you've never heard this experience as a personal experience other than the news.
Yes, always with acquaintances. I mean,
Okay.
always with a friend of a friend, but never seen it. Thank God.
That's good. I feel safer now because I'm afraid of sharks. So I feel like I can go to Recife, go to the beach, and have a good time, and I need not to be afraid of sharks. That is good. So tell me, how was it to be? For how long have you been in Paulista? Then you moved, right?
Okay, that's a good question. I was born in this town. This is, as I said, a small town in the border of Recife.
Okay.
But I've lived here until I was 18, and then I started to live in the capital and to be near the center. And then 5 years ago I got back here, but I also have family here in Paulista. So in Paulista I am at home. I am closer to the sea now because where I used to live, it was about 1 hour to get to the beach, but now the beach is in the end of my street.
All right, but continue living in Paulista.
Yeah, I didn't live for a while, but I got back here.
Good. All right. So how was it to be born and raised in a little city?
That, I think, that was very important for my development as a person and as a curious person, because when I was very young, when I was a child, I lived with my whole family in a small apartment. So I had my grandma, uncles, aunts, my mom, and then we went to another house. But since I was a child, I was in contact with poverty, with, people from the neighborhood. So my reality was very simple, was very humble. I had to share everything with my brothers and couldn't count on a lot of stuff. I used to hear about the capital. Oh, we call the capital, Recife, the city.
All right. Sure.
In Portuguese would be a cidade. So, today I'm going to the city. So, so it was always something like where things happen.
Yeah.
And I have always been engaged with television, books and stuff. So I didn't have internet, I didn't have many books, but I was always watching television, trying to get magazines, books, and I was curious about the world. And I always saw things. When I watched telenovelas, it was real. When I watched TV shows, so it was in São Paulo. When I watched TV series or movies, it was in the United States. Even the cartoons, So I always wanted to see these realities, which were away from me, in a time that even having a telephone would be difficult. So I have always been curious, and when I was not living with my grandma, uncles, and aunts and stuff, So I was most able to be in a place when I was a teenager with people around me, but I was a little strange for them. It was difficult to hang out. Some people were very attached to their realities and playing soccer and doing boy stuff, and I was not so good with this kind of thing, so it made me go to be more intensively attached to television, to books, etc. So I think maybe if I was born in São Paulo, I would not be so willing to to new realities because everything would be in my back door.
Sure, yeah. So as you were saying, like you didn't grow out, you grew in. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I went out.
That is a good thing. Was it a rough town? Was it violent around where you lived? Because, you know, I live in Rio de Janeiro, and depending on where you go, it can be really rough. It can be really violent.
Yes, that's a good question. I'm just looking at here because I know there are some questions and I forgot to take notes. So I'll try to check that while we are here. But that's a good question too because, yes, Recife is a violent city. I have been mugged many times.
Mugged.
Especially, yeah, he's showing a mug. So, and especially when I was living in the capital, in the city, in the downtown. So there are always people asking for money, and some people don't just ask, you know. And
they mug you.
yeah, and for a while in a neighborhood.
Been mugged.
Sorry?
How many times have you been mugged?
I couldn't count.
How many times? Oh,
No, but
countless times.
yeah. So, and let me explain. So, being mugged. What is a mugging? Mugging is when people rob you by violence, and normally with a gun or something, right? So yeah, many times, and I was poor and trying to survive in downtown, so I didn't have money. I was in contact with a lot of violence and stuff, etc. But I have always been very coward.
You should get a gun. At this point,
No.
you should get a gun. You should defend
Yeah.
or
But I have.
words or carry a knife around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not good with this kind of stuff. And I have always been coward, so from my family, from my friends, I was always the weak one, the one who gets nervous, who don't know how to act with this kind of stuff. So I was probably an easier target because there are a lot of people down the streets. Of course, if I was a woman, if I was a girl, I would be a way easier target. Not because girls are easier, but because as a man, I have
or a mace. Then you should get a gun. If you were a girl, you should at least, like a way to defend yourself, or have a big brother or a rough guy, walking around with you. So
yeah, that's a difficult thing. I would not suggest anyone to carry a gun, but I know that would be way more difficult if I was a girl. So I have the privilege of being a male, a weak male, so an easier target. But that's helped me a lot to have more flexibility and to be wiser with some stuff. This is like I am always thinking about something bad that can happen.
Yeah. Now that I think of it, so you were mugged.
Cautious.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of it like you were mugged and robbed offline. Have you ever been? Because here's what happened. I've been mugged offline and online. So,
Really?
oh yeah. But but during this pandemic, it's a good thing because I look like a victim. Look at me. I got this
Really?
beard. I do look like a victim. So if I'm walking down the street and a guy say, "Oh, come on," I can get something out of this guy. So you got a little.
Oh, I see.
I look like a victim. So this pandemic is good for me. I just stay at home, my studio, teach people. So, and try not to get mugged online. Try not to get robbed online.
Okay, guys, for you who are not watching this, for you who are just listening to it, I am a short guy, I am skinny, and I kind of look like a hippie. So anyone could look at me and, oh, he's an easy target, he's weak, but I already look like a poor person. But Paulo, he has a big beard, a black hair, a voice.
Kind of a bear look, I'm a bear. If I were in a gay community, they would call me a bear.
Yeah, he's like a bear, and with his voice, he's very impressive voice.
It's not coming through my voice, He's gonna have like a say, hey, yo. Yeah, he's gonna have a first talk, and then run by chance.
So I didn't think that you and as a male to be a victim like to look like a victim. So that's very new for me.
Yeah, I do. I think if I walk down the streets at the wrong time, I may get robbed. I look like a good heart. I mean, if I were a criminal, I would rob me,
Wow.
If I were a criminal, say, oh, look at that guy, that's the one I'm looking for. So, you grew up in when was the first time that you touched with a computer? How old?
Well, I always wanted to see computers and stuff, so when I was kind of 11, 12, so my friends who I started to have friends from the church or friends, neighbors, some of them already had it. And then I looked at that and they were having internet. That was the time that you should be awake.
Dial up.
Yeah, you needed to be online from midnight to until the morning, so they could access things. So
that's where sleep disorder from. That's where.
Oh, really?
Disorder from. That's where the shit started. Because I was raised in a time that I needed to be in the wee hours of the morning, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to be online. Otherwise, I wouldn't be online.
Hey, that's a good... Now I have a theory, because that explains why millennials have this sleep disorder, because they want to be awake during the dawn time, and during the day, people think about sleeping. I'm still this way.
Yeah, I can tell you from my personal experience, like the sleep disorders for me, they start around that age. And probably because of the internet, and I was addicted to it. I remember going online, and there was this peer-to-peer talk on a chat, IRC, and I would go in there, and I remember a time I went in there and I said, guys, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here, like I'm here every morning. I mean, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So yeah, so I didn't go well in school as well. So,
Maybe that's the scarcity, So guys, first I have to explain that in Brazil, for a time in the beginning of the 2000s, when internet was first available here,
years ago,
it was too expensive to go online. But when it was from midnight to about 6 a.m., you could go online and spend less. I think it's pulses.
Yeah, you
You would-
spend less money on
Yeah.
the call because it was dial up, you know. So you have like to call, and I never knew how that. Well, I still don't know how internet works. So
Yeah. So, and the second thing about that is that scarcity is when something is difficult to have, when you have just a few of that, and then you are more willing to get what you don't have in abundance than what you have in your reach. So probably because you only had that time to be online, you probably thought, no, that's the only time that I can be online, so I will. Maybe
Right, so-
that's the scarcity.
it's like flirting, you know. If you want to go out with a girl, you text her once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
Wow. No,
Ah.
Sarah, a student and friend of mine, she's saying, I'm not listening to Paulo very well. It's low. So, guys, if you are listening to that and you're having difficulties to listen to us, to any of us, please let me know in the comments so I can try to figure something out. Okay? Okay, Paulo. Thank you.
So yeah, I was talking about flirting. So if you want to go out with a girl, according to scarcity, you should text her once every 3 months. You know,
Wow, yeah.
that's how you got the ball rolling. You know,
It's going to make you desirable.
yeah, like once every 3 months and say hi, and that's it. You know, and then she, yeah, hello, and then 3 months go by and say, how you doing? And well, it's a long conversation, but it's worth it. You know.
No, yeah, it explains. It's like
It's
the
a year plan. It's a year plan, you know. So you may
patience pays off.
you may need to have a couple of girls in line so you can work this plan out. So at the end of the year, yeah.
Yes, there are some things called, I don't know, in English might be Venus's techniques, right?
Yeah, so like I do a whole spreadsheet on this, you know. So I have
Wow.
yeah, so I said, like, when I'm flirting, that's what I do. It's like I said, so today it is the 1st. We are coming into August. So I text a girl today, and then I wait for 3 months, and then I say hello, hi. So it takes a little while, but, you know, it works.
Yes, I kind of already studied about that, you know, because normally when we are...
It's a year plan. It's a year plan.
Sorry?
It's a whole year plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we tend to try to invest the more we want, and if the girl is already interested, that's great. But if you want to be interesting for the girl, so you try to make her miss you, right?
Yeah.
So I am not into doing this kind of stuff, this spreadsheet and stuff.
I do the spreadsheet.
But I understand why that happens, and if you're
Times,
ethics doing that.
day of the week, you know, I know it's like, oh, this is a shitty time to get in touch. So I get in touch at that particular time and say, oh, what? And then, you know, and then, hello, yes. And then 3 months later, I reply. So that's how.
Wow. I probably did something similar, but not wanting to. I mean, because I was so terrible with girls, so terrible. I mean, I told you that it was difficult for me to connect with the boys, but I was always connected to the girls, so I was in the girls' gangs. So I was very comfortable with girls, etc. But when I was interested in one girl in particular, I couldn't barely speak with her. And some girls who were already in my surroundings, when they started to treat me differently. I didn't know how to act, so I was very absent. I spoke very little.
You should drink more.
Yeah.
You know, so like the higher the amount of alcohol in your system, the more outgoing you are. So yeah.
And I already tried to be very extrovert. I consider myself an extrovert, but I was always very insecure. But then sometimes when I did that, when I just got offline because I couldn't face the girl, so many of them were more attached, and it was more difficult to me. I don't mean that don't mean that I am very good. No, I just mean that the few of the girls who showed that they were interested, even and especially if I was interested too, so it was the girls who I ran from because I couldn't just stay in the same place at the same time, speak and look at their eyes, and that made some of them, and especially one of my relationships, got very long because of that, because I was kind of trying to show that I was interested but always absent. I don't recommend that, but it seems to to work.
It seems to work. You know, like, you know that if you take a look at Hollywood actors or the guys that the girls look up to, in general they're shy.
Yeah, you're right.
So like Richard Gere, you know, I know it's old school. Yeah, those guys that you're really charming. You're not really out there speaking a lot. You know, they're not very talkative. So here's a kind of a charm of being shy. You know, there's a kind of charisma of being shy. Yeah.
Mysterious. You're more mysterious, right?
Yeah, yeah. The less you talk, the better sometimes, you know? So, yeah. All right, so, but have you ever trained a student of yours to flirt?
Good question. Actually, before I answer that, I think we are getting to 40 minutes, so we arranged before the live that if we got to this time, so probably we would have any cliffhanger, right? So maybe we should do more than one live, because on Instagram, if you go until the end, this is difficult to save, right? And then maybe after answering this and one question from Instagram, do you think we could start another live?
Yeah, how's your timer doing? I have 27 minutes here.
Okay, maybe because we started 10 minutes after the arranged, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Here it's about 80:41. So.
Okay. All right. So you got time.
Okay, that's good. We are.
Have you ever trained a student of yours to flirt?
It was easier to help other people to get along well with girls than doing that myself, because many of the guys, they have the attitude, they have the courage to go to the girl they're interested in, but sometimes they don't know how to speak with them. They don't know how to treat them like
How do you prefer? This looks better or this looks better?
For me it doesn't matter. Okay. But maybe we can see you better this way.
All right.
So some of the guys, I didn't have many guy friends, but the ones who I knew and who we got very well, they asked me how to speak with the girl and how to say things, and I told them what I knew and what I just speaking, treating someone else like a human being. And they said it worked. And for people who I didn't trust a lot. In this case, I didn't mention a lot, but with some students, that is a way for me to start introductions, you know, the introductions subject. So I get students and I say,
hello.
okay, sorry?
To say hello.
Yeah, so I start the class like, okay, to know I'm going to teach you how to break the ice. So people who watch that think, oh, he he must be very very outgoing, courageous, but no, that's just, it was just a resource for me to make the class interesting, to take some laughs, you know, from people. And I used actual techniques, you know. So hey, say hello, hi, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Cleydson. Do you know where somewhere is? Okay, by the way, nice to meet you. What's your name? So I use this kind of stuff as a plot device for the class. It made the class fun, but in real life I'm not very good to do that. I tried sometimes. I actually, when I was in the 20s, so sometimes I tried to challenge myself, but when I did have the results, I didn't have the courage to go ahead, because it's like, okay, the person met a persona which is not my real self, so it was difficult to to keep with that. Yeah.
To move on from there. Yeah, I'm smiling because I remember a time that there was a lot of flirting going on during my classes. So I would teach a group of students, and when I spotted that the boy was really shy or that the girl was really shy, I would, I mean, 100%, like a couple of classes, it would be about flirting, you know, and going into another person and then saying hello. So it's like, all right, so you tell her that she looks pretty hot. I say, oh, I cannot do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and does she look? Doesn't she look good? Yeah, she does. All right, so you gotta tell her that, and then slowly but surely, a lot of people would, you know, like break through those things, and they would become like sometimes way too much outgoing, and and that worked, you know. So, but yeah, because it's really like the edge. It's like really go for it, you know, and not only it's like go for it in English, you know. So I gotta do it, and yeah, so.
So the guys who I helped, they were already good with going for it. But the thing is, they wanted the magical word, the magic technique to talk to the girl, and I was like, normally the guys wanted to go there and to say something interesting, to show how interesting they were, and I said, okay, so do you know what they like? No, but how can I guess what they like? Why don't you ask? Why don't you ask? Okay, well, what do you like to do? Do you like to read? And what do you like to read?
That's a terrible
really?
question. Like,
it is.
what
Sorry?
That's a terrible question for me.
No, I mean, I didn't.
I like to sit on my gas and watch Netflix.
Okay, so what do you like to watch? So even if you don't like the subject, you can learn from it. For example, I don't like terror. So if I was interested in a girl and I just asked, what do you like? Oh, I just like to watch Netflix. And what do you like to watch on Netflix? I like terror. Really? I'm not very expert in terror. What kind of terror? What was the last terror movie that you watched? So, just asking. You know, this book, How to Make Friends and How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think the name in English. That's the title in English.
Is how to influence friends and manipulate people.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine
So,
about this particular book, and a friend of mine said, "Yeah, like just how to manipulate people." But that's a pretty good book. I love this book.
so asking if you're really interested in her, don't just show that or act like that. If you are really interested, why why aren't you sincere? Go there and instead of trying to look good, to ask her what you're interested in. Of course, if the guy is just interested
Soccer.
Yeah, if they just want to,
Soccer, beer, and soccer.
yeah. But if you go to the girl and ask her what she's interested in or try to find out, ask questions. For example, I'm terrible about beer and soccer. I don't know anything. But today, when I am with the guys and the subject is that, and so I listen and I ask questions. So, example. So the guy who catches the ball and throw to the field, so he's the gandula. Okay, I didn't know that, and people, what? But
gay?
They like.
You gay?
That's what people ask.
You gay?
But people like to talk.
I don't like soccer at all. You know.
Yeah. Hey, and that's something curious because it has always been difficult to hang out with guys, but Paulo is a friend of mine who we never met in person, right? But we have so much in common. We look so different, right? We look so different from each other, but I have with Paulo a friendship that it's difficult to have easy with people around me. I have good friends. I have good male friends, but Paulo is a person who was a very good surprise to me to be engaged with, and we talk about life, the universe, and everything. It's difficult to have someone who who can connect so well about that.
For one thing that we have in common is that you do not like soccer and I do not like soccer. You know, so
probably
a good starting point. For me, and I'm serious about this, that's not a joke. For me, a very good starting point. You got the ball rolling with someone is for you to find out what he or she does not like.
Yeah.
Because then I have something to talk about. It's like, oh, I hate soccer. Soccer's like. Soccer's for monkeys, you know? Like, people are running after a ball, like, the road depends on it. Send death. Like, what's up with that, you know? Like, you have problems with your dad. You go solve the problems with your dad. You not scream at people and shout, say, oh, come on, you know? So, and then you have things to talk about, you know? Otherwise, I say, I like soccer. Yeah, me too. Oh, that's great, you know?
So you're Machiavellic. You're like common enemies make close friends.
Yeah, of course. Yes, that's true. No, that's 100% true. You know.
Yeah, it happens. I would not hate on things, but for one time I hated soccer because I felt like I had to. And when I was with foreigner, when I was talking to foreigners, they wanted me to speak about soccer, and I said, "Sorry, I can't. I just can't."
Yeah. I don't like samba. I don't like soccer. I don't like. It's like I'm not into it. And say, oh, you don't like it at all? Yeah, kind of. You know, there is one or two or three songs that are okay. But in general,
so one more myth debunked, because Paulo is carioca, he's from Rio, but he's not into samba, right?
Not into samba, not into soccer, not into carnival. I don't like this kind of thing.
And I am from Recife, and I am not into carnival as well.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit. And of course, I mean, if I were American or if I were European, I'd probably love Carnival, you know, because say, oh,
Uh-huh.
look at that. That is a beautiful expression of the human nature. Because I would be a foreigner. But since I'm here, you know, since I was a little kid, people were just playing samba, dancing, and soccer, beer, Carnival. Said, all right.
The scarcity thing again. And one thing, do you think it is safe to keep on during this life? I'm afraid we are going to lose this recording.
Okay. So,
So-
you're the boss. You tell me what to do.
No, you are. You're in the command now.
All right. So my timer here, it's about 40 minutes. So yours, I'm trying to calculate, is probably 29 or 31.
Oh yeah, it's 8:53. So what do you think about starting another live? So I'm afraid we.
All right. Let's go.
Okay. So guys, we're going to start again. If you're watching the recorded version, so you're going to watch now or listen to the part 2. All right.
Part 2. Here we go.
So let's go.